Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And man, oh man, we got a lot to talk about. Humvees, Army Humvees, have been spotted in Minneapolis, and regular citizens are now the target of attack from these anti-ICE, Antifa-type lunatics that have, been creating all kinds of havoc in Minneapolis and in other parts of Minnesota as well. So we're going to cover all that and more and take your calls. But first, I want to start with the Border Patrol Chief, Bovino, who is one of the coolest guys around. I mean, if you see him walking around Minnesota, he's a pretty amazing guy. And he's not afraid of these protesters, right? These protesters are going around and attacking people. And Bovino, he's right there with it. He is completely fearless. And, he's like Tom Homan in a lot of ways, just a little younger. And this is what you want when you're dealing with the person that's in charge of the deportations. You want a tough, old-fashioned cop that knows the law and doesn't take any business and is not afraid of these protesters. I mean, you look at, as an example, the police chief of Minneapolis. What a strange dude he is, right? He doesn't seem as weird as he would normally, only because the mayor of Minneapolis, Frey, is so beyond weird that he even makes strange people seem somewhat normal. But the police chief of Minneapolis, that's not what you want in a cop. You know the kind of people I'm talking about? You could be at the mall or a grocery store, and some guy's there shopping with his family, and just by looking at him in the shoe store that he's a cop. Cops, real cops, not these metrosexual DEI cops like the police chief of Minneapolis. Real cops, you can tell that in no uniform, nothing, but they're a cop, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Exactly. And Bovino, like Tom Homan, is just like that. No matter where you could be on the beach, he could be in swim trunks, and you would know Tom Homan and Bovino are cops, right? So these ICE protesters, there's been some video of them attacking MAGA people, and some of these have been incredibly violent. And what the anti-ICE, Antifa-type anarchist paid protesters have been doing over this weekend in Minneapolis is taking things to a whole new level. And what they're actually doing, you're seeing something live on cable news and on social media that you may not have thought about it the way that I'm going to describe it to you. But when I tell you, you'll agree, and you may not agree with this right at first, but later today you'll think about what I said and you will agree. By the way, my name's Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA comes to talk. The Brian Craig Show podcast is available on all podcast platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for the Brian Craig Show. I'll pop up. If you want to catch the podcast in video form and live, go to YouTube, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. Okay. So, we've seen these attacks on MAGA people. I saw one guy, he was wearing a sweatshirt that said freedom on the back of it. And it wasn't your standard Charlie Kirk hoodie or something like I have. It just said freedom on the back. And the anti-ICE mob surrounded him, were making all kinds of threats, demanding that if he wanted to get out of there, he had to take off the sweater. And there was, far as the eye could see, very violent people, all in masks. He took the sweater off. There's been a couple of other incidents you're familiar with, too, where there was even one that was stabbed. What these are, these instances that you're seeing of people, because they have an American flag on, carrying American flag, or freedom on their shirt, that they're being attacked by this crowd. What you're seeing on television and on live streams and on social media, these are lynchings. You're seeing public lynchings done by a lynch mob on the streets of Minneapolis. That's exactly what it is. And I hope that people will call it out as what it is. It's a lynch mob, and they are lynching people. Like the people you've seen over the weekend who were attacked just because they had an American flag on. We're at a whole new level. Yeah, there's paid protesters there, but when you pay the fake anti-ICE protesters, some of the real ones are going to come in too. You know what I mean? So there is a mix. They're not all paid protesters. You get the paid protesters there, and the real lunatics will also show up, and that's what's happening. And it's a pretty scary thing. And one of the things that's so scary about it is that the media, I don't see the reaction I'm seeing on the media accounts of this. I haven't seen anyone call it what it is, a lynching. And that's what it is. You know, lynchings are something that's very unique to the Democrats in this country. You look at the history of lynching, it's always been the left. And this is one of the things, you know, what's going on by these leftist paid protesters and loons in Minneapolis. This is what you've really got to look hard at as we go into the midterm election season, right? Sorry, guys, I got to turn up the volume of everything. Hold on, I might get it. Okay. You've got it. Yep. Okay. All right. Let me turn the ringer off. Hold on, guys. Hold on. The phones are ringing, and I forgot to mute the ringer. That's okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. So these are, without question, public lynchings you're seeing. And I'm hoping people will properly identify them as that, okay? Because that's what they are. And what you're seeing in Minneapolis, as we're in this midterm election season, this is the midterm election year. And I tell you guys, we can win this election and gain seats in both houses if we have a massive turnout. But understand this, that the Democrats, this lynch mob in Minneapolis, that's their constituency. Think about that. The Democrats are catering to the vote of this lynch mob in the streets of Minnesota. And, you know, I haven't seen any major Democrat come out and condemn these mobs. So Bovino, the Border Patrol chief, listen to what he was sharing.
Anarchists, and I'm calling them anarchists now. These anarchists, these rioters, these bad people that wish to harm law enforcement are now harming American citizens. Those vehicles you mentioned that were vandalized, they've also, we've received reports, vandalized indiscriminately many vehicles in those hotel parking lots. They don't care if it's government vehicles and then they happen to get several vehicles of American citizens, innocent civilians. Wow. They don't care. And we're seeing that now. We're hearing reports from the police that that's happening, throwing nails out in parking lots where our government vehicles are not even located. They don't care. So these anarchists truly do not, they truly do not go towards federal law enforcement only. If you get wrapped up in this and you're mom and pop American, you get wrapped up and they even think you're law enforcement, then you're getting it also. And that's a big problem. I think that should probably wake some people up as to the depth and the scope of these anarchists.
Okay, so now, you know, what Bovino's telling us is now they're going after just anyone in civilian clothes. You know, so those out there that are on the left that are trying to portray, you know, this incident post the Renee Good when she tried to run over the ICE officer as, oh, just a mom dropping her kids off who's standing up for what's right against what's wrong and all this stuff. No, there is no true protest that has any legitimacy in Minnesota, in particular in Minneapolis. Right now, it's a lynch mob that just wants to go out there and hurt people. And you know what? Hurt them bad. And these are scary, scary times we're in. And, you know, it's only going to, you really need to share all these things you're seeing out there. Make sure you share on all your socials. People need to see what the Democrat constituency is all about, because you know what? If these people get in charge of our government, right? If they get in charge of the government and win the midterm elections, and God forbid 2 years later retake the White House, this lynch mob that you're seeing in Minneapolis, they are going to be running the country. I wanted to share this with you just to let you know that I'm not nuts. Jim Acosta had that Jennifer Welch podcaster on the other day. You know Jennifer Welch, she's that liberal podcast woman, and you all know who Jim Acosta is. He was, with CNN and all that stuff. And what Jennifer Welch is talking with Jim Acosta about here is when they're back in control of the country, what they're going to do. Listen to this.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same.
Okay. So you know what they're talking, these people on the left, they don't even hear themselves. They're so sick, so twisted, so evil, so anti-American, they don't even hear themselves. You know what she's talking about? She's talking about with Jim Acosta. Jim Acosta, yeah. They're talking about a Stalin-like purge of this country. And this isn't me. This is her. This is from the horse's mouth.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability.
Accountability. The accountability mean the show trials. They had these in Havana when Castro took over. This is what you got to, these things are important. And I know some people will say, well, why are you giving them publicity? Because this is how important the midterm elections are. Because if we don't get our vote turnout out there and we don't win the midterm elections and they take over and the White House next time around, this is what we're going to have.
Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former MPD police officer who almost got killed on January 6th. He said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as shit should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, if we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic Party, but I'm saying this is the way the Democrats
You don't have to, we know, Jim.
They should say when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that immunity decision can be overturned. And so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
Wow. So, I got that on newsbusters.org. You should check it out. This is crazy town. So they're going to have a purge. They're going to go, anyone who's worked for Trump is going to be brought to trial and put in prison. They're giving us a hard time because Mark Kelly is being recalled to duty for his attempt to get the military to launch a coup against the president. And they're telling us here, Jim Acosta and Jennifer here, telling us they're going to round up anyone who worked for Trump, have public show trials, put him in jail, do the same thing with the president, Trump. And by the way, they're also going to add seats to the Supreme Court, so it's a puppet court. So it's no longer a legitimate court. And you know what they call that with the Supreme Court? You know, it's packing of the Supreme Court, but you know what they call it? They call it Supreme Court reform. Yeah, they call it Supreme Court reform. So, you know, this is what they're planning to do, people. This is what their agenda is. Make no mistake about it. So when I tell you that this is the most important midterm election of your lifetime, it is. Every election's important, and the most important because it's the one we're dealing with at that particular time. But this midterm election will decide how America moves forward. Are we going to continue to be a free country? Are we going to turn into Castro's Cuban gulag stateside? Because that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Stalin-like purges in this country. You know, this Hate America First crowd, they've always thought this way. The thoughts aren't new. But what makes it new and what makes it terrifying is they're out of the closet with it. They're not hiding their true feelings. They're out of the closet with what they plan on doing. And they're telling you every day, like there in that clip. These midterms are important. These are the most important midterms you will ever vote in your life. You know, President Trump has been draining the swamp, and he's been doing a darn good job at it. But the job's not done yet, right? And will the swamp get back in and do these things? If they do, they will. Oh, sorry, guys. I got to turn the ringer off. I reset the phone, and I don't know why. I have the ringer off on most lines, but not all lines. I don't know. I got to check it out. Let me look here. I'll look during the break. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some calls in a bit, and I will figure out how to... There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. I thought I muted the mic, or the ringer, and I turned it back up. All right, you callers on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones in a moment. I just want to play this clip of Pam Bondi.
We're witnessing a new era of political violence. Assassins have tried to murder President Trump twice and tried to kill Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. In Minnesota, legislators and even children attending Mass were gunned down in cold blood in 2 separate incidents. And an assassin targeted and murdered our friend Charlie Kirk. A sniper shot 3 people at a Texas ICE facility, and now more than 200 violent rioters were at a Chicago ICE facility chanting, "Arrest ICE, shoot ICE." At least one had a gun. We've seen this before. We saw it in Portland and with the LA riots. These are not peaceful protests. These are coordinated attacks by radical extremists, and they end now. Anyone who threatens or assaults our federal officers will be arrested and charged federally, not in some liberal state court. Same goes for anyone who's funding and aiding these extremists. You will be dismantled brick by brick. We are taking our country back. Make America safe again.
All right. Well, there's the Attorney General. Okay. Could you start with Comey, by the way, and Brennan? When are those arrests coming, Pam? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Raymond from Jacksonville. Brian, I was listening to your passion, man, and I'm loving it, man. I'm really enjoying your show, and here we go. I wish you the best.
Yes.
And hey, man, I want you to be on the lookout, man. I hope you're packing.
Okay.
Man.
All right. I appreciate that. I'm always on the lookout. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Tripper the bus driver, driving into town right now.
All right. Driving through Minneapolis right now? Oh, my goodness. What's on your mind?
Yep. Okay. So yesterday I went to lunch at that Target, you know, where they get ambushed all the time. I tries to go. It's on Cedar and Crosstown.
Uh-huh.
And some dude walks up to me, and he's about a young, you know, he's one of them 25 to 30-year-olds activist people, smiling like a dummy, and hands me this thing. he says he targeted me because I was in my uniform, you know, and he goes, I want the ATU. I'm going around trying to get the ATU and all the unions and everybody that's a state worker we're going to stage a walk off the job day.
Oh, really? And they just
in protest of ICE.
Oh, wow. So how are they going to get to their protest if you walk off the public bus that aren't driving it?
Well, there's barely anybody riding that now except drug abusers. Yeah. You know.
Oh, okay. So basically, you're in a mobile crack house. You're in a mobile crack house.
Yeah, Tom took a picture of it. My boyfriend, who I live with here, in Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I live an hour, you know, but he took a picture of it, and he's going to put it out on Facebook right now. He's always constantly busting their, you know what's on Facebook. And
that's good.
So, I sat there smiling. I thought to myself, this guy's so dumb that he assumes automatically that I am a supporter of the Democrat Party just because I'm standing here in a bus uniform.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, and of course I smile. I go, that's interesting. Okay, well, yeah, you know, and I go, he asked if I wanted to sign over something. No, I said, we can't be political on our job, you know.
Well, no, the way you responded was appropriate, because if you would have said what you were thinking, you could have been attacked, like these videos I've seen in Minneapolis over the weekend.
Well, you know, when you're on the ground around people, everybody's all just trying to avoid the uncomfortable obviousness that there's other people that are next to you that disagree with you. So nobody really does that. But he said to me, I got to be careful. I mean, I might get kicked out of here. You know, so he's running around the store doing this and trying to. And I said, oh, you're fine. I'm thinking what I'm doing is I'm giving himself enough rope to hang himself. And go ahead, you know, keep doing this. Spread them flyers out. We're going to put this all out on social media and show that you're trying to get a total state insurrection here besides the violence.
Yeah. Well, what's it looking like on the scene? Because what I'm seeing on social media, it's looking very rough and dangerous in Minneapolis.
It is. I mean, my bus, when I got downtown on the bus I was driving, the transit supervisor was standing there and I'm supposed to go down 2nd Avenue all the way down to Washington, and he told me to take a right immediately, like on 7th, 8th Street, whatever, the one-way, and take a right and take a left on 5th Avenue, skip all them routes and go into my gateway ramp and not do the stops there. And I could see 2 blocks up ahead the huge mob that was out on live social media on the ground, which was all totally crazy. Where that one conservative he was trying to record and he got attacked when he's been filmed and blah, blah, you know.
Well, your uniform gives you protection because they just assume since you work for the government, you're one of them. It's a shield.
That's right. I mean, I get my uniform at the same store as the state troopers and the cops. Oh, I have another bit of information, on-the-ground information. Tom told me that, he said the cops, like, a bunch of them are going to take they can take a year's paid leave for stressful situations or whatever. They can take a year's, I can't remember what it's called, and they're all just thinking about, because they're not allowed to help or do anything, they're going to take a year's leave and whatever. We barely have any cops. I had to have a cop called yesterday because there was some tweaker on my bus that would not mellow out, calm down, and stop talking and being disruptive, and he was my first passenger, and I'm going, dude, are you going to be okay? And he can't even hear me. He's totally tweaking out, crashing out. So I called my transit people, and it says, is there somebody that can meet me somewhere on my route? Because I got a guy in here that's making me feel unsafe. He's totally disruptive. He's completely out of his mind. And a cop did come on University Avenue in St. Paul and Snelling, but this guy, I pull over to wait for the cop, and he decides he's going to leave, just randomly. Like, he didn't even see the police officer coming the other way. He just wanted to get off. And I thought, okay, good.
Yeah.
Get off. So I told the cop, I says, I almost accidentally said self-deported. I go, he self-exited off the bus. So there, you know, okay, so that was over. But I need the cops. We need them.
Well, you've got a scary job there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, something else. I wear my cross and pray and ask God every day to please make my bus be safe.
They don't pay to ride the bus? You just let them on, right? They don't have money to pay.
No, they don't. And we have this thing, the one I drive, the A line and the orange line.
Yeah.
You pay at the platform, and then you have a ticket. And we have ticket agents. Well, the ticket agents go in pairs of threes because it's so dangerous to ask people if they've got paid their fare.
Yeah.
And so, but when I saw them, oh my God, I saw them on the next run, and I had dealt with a Karen that came on the bus, a white Karen, young person that was not visible. I couldn't see her at all. I slowed down the platform. There's nobody there. I keep going, and all of a sudden I see arms waving, and I pull my bus over about 50 feet ahead and put on my hazards and wait for her, which caused me to stop a little faster than I wanted to.
Yeah.
This homeless lady's bags fall on the floor and stuff. She comes running up. I let her on the bus, and she starts yelling at me behind her N95 mask.
Oh,
going,
of course, yeah.
You didn't stop. Yeah, I said, I just did stop for you.
Oh,
she
boy,
goes,
what a
well,
tough...
you could be do your, and I says, you can get off right now if you want.
Yeah.
Get off.
Well,
She
listen,
did not. She
keep
sat
us
down, she told me to.
keep us updated on the
Stop talking and do your job.
Oh,
My
yeah.
blood was freaking boiling, dude.
Boy, you got some job. Well, keep us updated on the main streets of Minneapolis, all right? Stay safe.
I will.
All right. Man, her job as a bus driver is, it sounds like, more dangerous than the cops, right? Because she's right there on the front lines. The cops are, by Mayor Frey's ordering them to not do anything. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike. What's up?
You know, all this stuff that's happening in Minnesota right now, think about this. Amy Klobuchar, who's the senator currently, wants to run for governor.
Yes.
Well, we know who's running for governor right now. It's our friend My Pillow Mike, right?
Mike Lindell. That's right, the inventor of the My Pillow.
Right. So all this stuff that's happening is not going to help Amy Klobuchar win that office. It's not, you know.
Mm-hmm. I read that they've run so many people out of Minnesota now, ICE, through deportations and everything, that Minnesota, they're expected to lose a House seat in the midterms. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll free 888-465-2631 888-465-2631. It's tax season. I'm getting my tax stuff in the mail already from people. It is tax season. You want to call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. Jamie Levac, he's based here in South Florida, but he can help you with your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. And by the way, that goes for federal, state income tax, your local taxes, your business taxes, your payroll taxes. If it's taxes, Jamie Levac can help you and make sure that you get the maximum return that you are entitled to. He knows the big, beautiful bill inside and out, and he'll make sure you get all those great new tax deductions. And with Jamie Levac at Swift Tax, you can even get your tax refund in as little as 24 hours. Give Jamie Levac at Swift Tax a call, 954-773-1587. Remember, he can help you with your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. 954-773-1587. We'll be right back. On the line, we have Frank. He's a listener, and he's a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. Frank, welcome. So, Frank, could you tell me how Jupiter Joe Thomas helped you?
What he's advertising today and putting out there is a fantastic product for people like me, and there's millions of people like me that want a good sound investment, and they want a good sound, caring, loving investment advisor, and that's Jupiter Joe. He's in the business for like 30 years, and he knows his business. Him and his family make you feel so comfortable. You sit down, and he gives you a real full analysis of what's going on and what he has to offer. And I got into these income streams, these streaming products, and I jumped on it right away. And when he told me what I'm going to get, and I'm getting it right now, and on one of them, I was amazed. He doubled what this other so-called investment advisor was offering me. And I'm jumping for joy.
Do what Frank did. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas right now. Schedule your no-charge consultation. Talk to Joe Thomas about annuities and be guaranteed income every month for the rest of your life. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, jupiterjoe.com. Dream bigger. Achieve more. Tina puts the tools for your best life at your fingertips. Master personal growth. Boost your confidence and unlock health, wellness, and social skills that make every day count. Start your journey at esthetina.com. Visit AESTHETINA.com. Build wealth, conquer side hustles, and level up your career with expert guides on investing, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Take action, transform your life, and rise higher today with Esthetina. Esthetina. Knowledge, power, success. On the line, we have Lewis. He had some issues with some taxes in past years, and he called Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax, and Jamie took good care of him. Lewis, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. So tell me how Jamie from Swift Tax helped you on your taxes.
I was having trouble with another company. I called Jamie, and the next day I brought my wife in there with all the paperwork, and he straightened all my back taxes out, and I'm actually getting money back now.
Wow, this is pretty amazing. So this other company you went to told you owed the government money, and Jamie over at Swift Tax took a look and found out that not only did you not owe money, you're getting money back from the government?
Yes, I got nice big checks coming soon.
Do what Lewis did. Call Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. Glow, grow, and thrive with Vanity Nest. Dive into expert guides on skincare, makeup, hair care, fragrance, fitness, personal growth, and family life. Plus tips for dating, travel, and wealth. Pair your learning with must-have tools like brushes, sponges, cosmetic bags, organizers, and massagers to make every day effortless and stylish. Discover it at vanitynest.shop and shine brighter every day. Vanity Nest, beauty, life, and confidence in one place. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott. What's up?
Well, one frustrating thing that
give me a moment. Yeah, go ahead.
I've seen these.
I've
seen these. What now?
I'm sorry. You said one frustrating thing is what? You cut out for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've seen numerous times where progressives, liberals, Democrats have said wild or done wild things that are really telling, and they never get picked up. One of those things was Ilhan Omar giving a speech where she said, how wonderful it would be for there be no police. What a beautiful world it would be. Well, you know what would happen if she got her wish.
Well, we're seeing it in Minneapolis, kind of, right? I mean, other than the ICE. Those aren't real police there. They've been ordered to hold back. You have anarchy.
Well, what?
Or Somalia.
Really? And what I would see is there eventually would be police. There would be guys in road warrior-looking pickup trucks riding around with weapons enforcing rules by some boss. Hey, where does that look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somalia, exactly. Where she fled.
Yeah. And or Chicago in the 1930s, which didn't have guys running around in pickup trucks, but did have turf gangs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they want, anarchy.
And you know, I want her to take her show and take it back where she came from, or if it was Kenya or Somalia. We don't need this.
That's true.
That's true. When are people not to wake up and smell the coffee, but to wake up, smell the toilet water, get your head out of the pot, and realize what you've got going on here, and what you used to have, and what you can have again.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. You got those crowds that attacked that young man yesterday, which he kind of brought it on. I mean, you just don't. Even if you've got a religion that you don't agree with, you don't sit there and disrespect it. I mean, and what was he doing out there anyway?
Well, taking a great
You don't
risk.
know
I
what I'm
mean,
talking about, do you?
there were a few. There were a few people that I saw that were attacked yesterday. I was at the top of the show. Those are lynchings that you're watching. Those are public lynchings and tar and feathering going on in the streets of Minneapolis by this mob.
And somehow he survived it.
I don't know how. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, he got to his car. He hit somebody, from what I heard.
Oh, really? Oh, I'll go back and look. All right, Scott, appreciate the call. Take care. All right. If you'd like to call in, by the way, the number is, if you're watching live on YouTube, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. It's 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Sandy from Minneapolis.
Oh, hey, Minneapolis. What's it looking like?
Cold. They have, and I was really surprised. Yesterday it was about 10 degrees.
Oh, boy.
And they were outside the Whipple building where they're keeping the detainees.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually throwing buckets of water onto the drive and onto the street.
Wow.
So that it was slick, so that ICE would have a hard time getting out of the parkway.
Yeah.
And then they could just surround the cars and stuff like they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a lot of paid protesters here. During the day, you'll get the regular citizens out there, and after night, just like with George Floyd, then the paid people show up, and that's when trouble usually starts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw on the news that we had an incident a couple of nights ago where the DHS was actually run out of their vehicles, and they had to leave them behind.
Wow.
And they broke into one of them and wound up getting paperwork that had like all the agents' names on it.
Oh, boy.
All the agents' information on it, all the people that they were after.
It's crazy.
They got a gun. The car they broke into had a gun locker in it.
Yeah, the one where they took the gun from the gun locker, I read yesterday that was a Trinidad de Agua guy that got the gun. Just who you want to have a gun. Oh, my goodness.
Exactly. They did wind up catching him, though.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take them long.
Yeah.
So they are on it. The FBI is on it around here.
Well, it does look like we're getting closer to President Trump and the Insurrection Act. It's a major military movement, so it takes time. But I'm expecting it any moment. I've already seen online Army Humvees in the streets of Minneapolis.
Yeah, they're starting to move now. Just because like now they're getting some of these protesters out there with guns.
Wow, scary.
I know that my cousin and I were out last night. We were tearing signs down.
What's the mindset of like the average person? Like if I went to a gas station, the guy working at the gas station in Minneapolis, what would his thoughts be on what's happening?
It really depends because you have some sympathizers and you have some people that think it's absolute BS. Around where I'm at, around the Fort Snelling area, they really want these people out of here.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to a gas station, you'll get like an eye roll or whatever. It's like they need to go. They need to go home. They need to take their immigrant friends and get the hell out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just some general frustration. We keep expecting Walz to like declare martial law at some point, which he's so notorious for doing. He did it to us during COVID.
Well, the President Trump's Insurrection Act that supersedes and trumps whatever Tim Walz would declare.
Yep, and that's something that I feel a lot better about. I wasn't sure about that, and I had to look it up. Was that even though the National Guard can be called out by Walz, the president can federalize them.
Correct.
And they take the same oath that we take when we join the service.
Mm-hmm.
So they report to the president. They obeyed the president.
Are local people there? Are you guys scared?
No, not really.
Because you know where not to go.
Yeah, I guess it depends on where in the city you are. Like I said, I'm out towards Fort Snelling, so I'm out of downtown a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Whipple building's probably about a quarter mile from where I'm at.
Yep.
And that's where they tend to be staying, right in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not like all over the place. I wouldn't like the lady that called before, who's a bus driver. She's closer to downtown.
Yeah, pretty scary.
And that's just not a great area to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it depends on where in the city you are as far as the attitude too. The closer you are to downtown, the more that you're going to have the supporters for the liberal side.
Yeah.
The further out you come, it's more from the conservative side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the building I live in is all veterans, and most of them here just they're a lot of them are just looking at you. Hey, let's go. We got to do something with these guys. It's like don't
stay away.
With it.
Stay away. That's what they want.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
stay away. Stay away from all protest. No matter, by the way, that goes nationwide. If there's any anti-ICE protest in your town, stay away. That's what they want.
Absolutely, because they've got enough of the headache as it is, trying to deal with what they got to deal with.
Exactly.
They don't need a bunch of people trying to get in there.
And I'm seeing all these people get attacked over the weekend. It's this crowd is getting more and more emboldened and violent every day.
Oh, absolutely, and it's Walz and especially Frey that are getting them wound up.
Mm-hmm.
Even the police chief, who really doesn't do a lot, has been, he gets watched on pretty easily. Frey was up, I think it was last night, giving one of his talks, and he said that even though they didn't have a large police department, there were people asking for the police department to get out in the street and fight Walz.
Oh my
or
goodness.
No
fighting. Stay. No fighting anyone. Okay. All right. Hey, listen. Keep me updated as things develop. Okay, in your town, because you're there at ground zero. So feel free to call me every day and give me an update on the pulse of the community.
I sure will, Brian. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care. Yeah. If there's any protest anywhere, stay away, because with these protesters, it's not just that they're violent. They get violent, then they blame you. All right, and if you're lucky enough to survive it, they'll do what they can do to get you arrested. Okay, so stay away from all protest. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Brian, I'm so sick of it already. Now, I watched it all day. For those who didn't see it, I know Brian saw it. They had this one guy that was out in Dearborn, Michigan. He was actually anti-Islamic takeover of the United States and pro-ICE.
Yep.
Okay? You know who I'm talking about. He was in a windowsill. I want people to picture 3,000 screaming people that wanted to rip him apart, and the police across the street watching, not doing a darn thing about it.
That's right.
And they dragged him off the windowsill and beat the living hell out of him. From
Scary.
One hit in the head, it was so scary, Brian. I got to the point where I said, "This is awful. They're going to see a death on YouTube." I mean, it was really bad. And the guy, they followed him into his hotel, and out the back, and then finally somebody picked him up and he got away when they started banging on the car. There was another guy. They hit him in the neck, I guess, with the point of or a knife, stabbed him almost in the carotid artery. He was bleeding down his neck. They followed him, and he got picked up by somebody in the street. When is this going to stop? When are we? What is? I'm going to say it, President Trump. What are you waiting for? Doesn't he see what I saw yesterday?
Well, what we saw was already we've seen Humvees in the streets of Minneapolis, and it looks like they're starting to prepare for a major military move.
Those Humvees, that was they would. The governor brought them.
No, those are National Guard, but the National Guard is going to be federalized. And if you watch all of the people that work around Trump, Stephen Miller and others, they're all talking about Insurrection Act. So the fact that they're all talking about it means that it's in the works.
Well, you want to know how long it's taking here? Every day that goes by, they get emboldened more and more. Let me tell you something. The most horrifying thing. People can't imagine 3,000 screaming people trying to get at one person to rip them apart, and no help. I mean, and then there was a guy that was standing, another one that was the night before. He was down there already getting punched in the head all over the place. He looked like he couldn't fall down. He was hit so hard.
Are you talking about Jake? You talking about Jake Lang?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I know. I saw the video of him, and I was like, oh my. I hope that they took him in for an MRI scan of his head. He was really bad off.
Oh my. He couldn't fall. He could not fall. That's how bad it was. Because they were up against him, punching him and hitting him and hitting him with poles and everything. And a lot of. I'm going to say this.
We've never quite seen. Okay, are you back with me?
Yeah. I didn't see anything.
We've not seen anything quite like this. This is even different than the BLM events of the and everything after George Floyd.
You brought up the BLM. Well, you remember when that white couple, or there was a group of people, I think it was in Memphis or something, or New York, when they got jumped by about 20? Mm-hmm. And she, you remember that case? They had it all over the place. I don't see the mainstream media. They're coming up with these crazy, well, these are right-wingers trying to, it's like ridiculous. They don't see.
Well, I just got some, an update. Okay, I'll share this with you, a little bit of on what's going on. Right now it is -1 degree in Minneapolis, and Nick Sorter posted on X, the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne, who Trump just put on standby to deploy to Minneapolis, is based in Alaska, and they specialize in cold weather warfare. So see, that's been the delay. They need Arctic troops. And so we have the 11th Army Airborne that President Trump's put on standby to deploy to Minneapolis. If you brought the Florida National Guard in, they'd lose. I mean,
it wouldn't work. They'd freeze their booty.
Richie, I'll give you the last word. I got to move on.
One more thing. One more thing. One of the YouTubers said he saw the same guy in Portland with a beard and like a towel over his neck.
Absolutely.
They flew him over to this. They go from city to city, and it's got to stop, and we have to stop it. We cannot. You don't want to mention the 3-letter word, but that's what it is.
Okay. All right. I got to run, Richie, but I appreciate the call. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. When we get back to the break, I'll take more calls. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Tom Laporta, he's been with us for a long time on the program, and I have talked to so many listeners who have had either roof replacements or repairs done by Tom Laporta, and they just love Tom Laporta and his great company that do incredible work. Tom Laporta, remember, voted best roofing company in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale, Florida is ground zero for hurricanes. There are more roofers per capita in the city of Fort Lauderdale than probably any other city in the world. And for him to be voted best roofing company when there's so many is a huge testament to the great work that he does. Tom Laporta works with every type of roofing material and every type of structure, residential, commercial, even municipal. He does church roofs as well. He can handle the job of any size, whether it's one home, one office building, or an HOA with over 450 units. He can do it. Give Tom Laporta a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. You can call or text 954-604-4602. We'll be right back. On the line, we have Lewis. He had some issues with some taxes in past years, and he called Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax, and Jamie took good care of him. Lewis, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. So tell me how Jamie from Swift Tax helped you on your taxes.
I was having trouble with another company. I called Jamie, and the next day I brought my wife in there with all the paperwork, and he straightened all my back taxes out, and I'm actually getting money back now.
Wow, this is pretty amazing. So this other company you went to told you owed the government money, and Jamie over at Swift Tax took a look and found out that not only did you not owe money, you're getting money back from the government?
Yes, I got nice big checks coming soon.
Do what Lewis did. Call Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. Transform ordinary spaces into extraordinary escapes with Astrito.com. Cozy blankets, elegant coffee tables, and mood-setting candles bring warmth. And with promo code DISCOVER10, you'll save 10% while creating a home you love. Kitchen gadgets and DIY decor inspire creativity. Whether you're styling a home office or refreshing your living room, start crafting your dream environment. Explore ASTREDO.com now. Astrito. Style your home your way. Unlock AI tools that spark creativity, health gadgets that rejuvenate, and fashion items that command attention. Step into a world of growth and achievement with Recoveries. We're 10% off with promo code RECOVERNOW10. Makes your next move even smarter. Master productivity hacks, explore travel essentials, and build skills that turn ambition into action. Every moment is a chance to level up. Discover your next breakthrough at RECOVERES.com. Recoveries. Achieve more. Live brighter. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast, where MAGA comes to talk. The Brian Craig Show is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for The Brian Craig Show, and I'll pop right up. If you want to catch the program in video form and live, that's on YouTube, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. And that's where I take these calls. If you're watching live on YouTube, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. This is Danielle calling from Michigan.
Hey, Danielle.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I just was listening to Richie, bless his heart. I just wanted to kind of just take a deep breath there, Richie. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah, I think we're kind of heading in the direction. I just read Trump's recent post on Truth Social about 20 minutes ago. And, you know, Brian, in my opinion, what they're doing with all the riots and getting all the people riled up and everything, they're trying to really, there's a lot of major stuff going on in Minnesota, and it's not just these rioters. There's major fraud going on. And they're trying to distract. Trump says, hey, don't worry, we're on it. All the $18 billion plus fraud that has taken place in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So they can go out and they can be in the streets and they can riot and do whatever they want, thinking that this is going to be a distraction and that they're not on it and going to be held accountable. I really feel we just all need to take a deep breath. We're all frustrated. I mean, like I told you before, I got family there. We're all frustrated. We're all upset. But justice is coming, and it's going to come quick, and it's going to come swift. And in my opinion, I'm trusting Trump.
Of course.
I'm trusting what he's doing. And the timing is going to be everything here. So I love listening to Richie. You've got so many great callers. I just want him to, I realize what he saw. That was 25 minutes from where I live.
Yeah.
I've got friends that live in Dearborn.
It's scary.
So, yeah, very scary. I just wanted to take a deep breath. We got to trust the plan, trust what Trump's doing, and I love that you're on so often. You've got the best show, the best callers.
Well, thank you.
And just have a blessed day, and we're going to get through it.
Absolutely.
We're going to get through it all.
And Minneapolis is going to get through it too, and they're going to have a real city again.
Listen, I told you before, I've spent so much time in the Twin Cities. I've spent so much time in Duluth and all over Minnesota because of my family. It was. The Mall of America, Brian. That was the place to be. That was so awesome to go to. Minnesota will clean up. I really believe that they will come back again, and we have to trust it, have faith, and I want to say, Richie, take a deep breath. I love when you call in. It's going to be okay.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the call. All right. You take care. Yeah. So the president just posted, this is like 40 minutes ago, on True Social. ICE is, this is what the president posted on True Social just this morning. ICE is removing some of the most violent criminals in the world from our country and bring them back home where they belong. Why is Minnesota fighting this? Do they really want murderers and drug dealers to be ensconced in their community? You know, that's the first time I've ever seen the word ensconced written out. I don't think I've ever read that word before. The thugs that are protesting include many high-paid professional agitators and anarchists. Now, understand, when President Trump says that, that means that's true. He's the president of the United States. He's getting intelligence briefings. Is this really what Minnesota wants? The crooked governor and Congresswoman Omar, who married her brother, President Trump posted, don't mind because it keeps the focus of attention off the $18 billion plus fraud that has taken place in the state. Don't worry, we're on it. See, and this is, as I said, everything President Trump says is true because he's not a pundit, right? He's the president, and he's getting briefings from the intelligence agencies on all these things. Everything you heard in there, he's been briefed on by the intelligence agencies. So you can take it all to the bank as truth. Now, if you'd like to support my channel and my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of the episode. If you become a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen on YouTube and a live on-air thank you shout out. I want to thank SF Jr., Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, Lizep, Shauna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, and Doris. These are my top Patreon supporters. There's a link in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're tuned in on to my Patreon page. Patreon supporters get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes. That's right. You also get access to exclusive live streams only for Patreon supporters. It's a troll-free zone on the Patreon platform. And there's a lot of other content that both my wife and I post to Patreon. We post nowhere else. So again, my Patreon page is linked in the description, or you can go to patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you next time. Take care.